Hello, welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews.
I pity anyone who isn't me.
And I'm Gary. And today we're going to review and discuss The Salvation, which came out in 2014 from director Kristian Levring. Iain, why don't you give us the synopsis?
Well, the story follows Mads Mikkelsen's character, John. He's a Dutch soldier who's been living in America awaiting the arrival of his wife and son. On the day they turn up, they're killed. And after killing the man who murdered them, he finds out that the brother, played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, has decided to exact revenge on a local town. Now John has to decide if to help or to run.
Yeah, I was a soldier once, and it taught me a lesson. Don't get into a fight. You know you're gonna lose.
This film, kind of went under the radar for me.
Yeah.
But it was really the cast, the three leads to the film that made me go, actually, I kind of want to watch this, Mads Mikkelsen, he's been fantastic as Hannibal Lecter.
Le Chief.
Right, yeah. And Eva Green, she's, come from television with some film roles.
Oh, Vesper.
Penny Dreadful.
Yeah.
And of course, from James Bond as well. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan as well, from Supernatural, from The Walking Dead, Watchmen.
Yeah.
So some just fantastic actors. I was like, it's a strange ensemble, but that just compelled me to want to see what they would be like in a Western.
Yeah, like you said, this went under the radar, and I remember seeing it on the shelf in a local, DVD sellers, and I was like, I looked at it and thought, a Western with that lineup. Why is nobody else watching this?
Why is no one else talking about this?
Why is this just on a shelf, at the top for £10?
It's just one step away from the bargain bin.
Yeah, we're talking Hannibal here. Everybody's watching Hannibal with Mads Mikkelsen, and it's just sitting there. And then when we said we were going to do it for the review, sitting down to watch it, it starts dark.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was invested straight away when the music kicked in.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, this feels, they're getting me in the mood for what's to come. And the music was, it had that Morricone kind of twinge to it, where it was just like, okay, I'm feeling the good and bad and the ugly.
But with the overlay of obviously the narrative explaining about 1864, the Dutch have been defeated, and John and his brother Peter. They've come to America.
They've migrated, yeah.
And they've lived in America now for about 7 years, and they're waiting for the arrival of his son. And I hadn't recognized the director at first.
Right.
And then I thought, there just didn't seem to be a budget, behind this. We're immediately getting this story. It's only an hour and a half long. The music playing. And then when the train starts to pull up to the station, and you've got John waiting there for his wife, the background...
The train itself?
Yeah, I wasn't too sure. There was something there that made me go...
It seems fake. It doesn't seem real.
Yeah.
And, this is a Danish film production, and they filmed the whole thing in South Africa.
Ah, right.
And it's a Western, and so you just like, the three elements here just don't quite add up, but I think they pulled it off well enough. But still, my brain was just going, this doesn't feel authentic.
Yeah. But I started to, settle behind, Mads, and he meets his wife, and you see the son, and I'm like, okay, this is a beautiful moment. But I know what's going to happen, because, this isn't your happy-go-lucky Western. This woman is beautiful, and as they get into the stagecoach, they meet the other two passengers, and these two passengers are asked to leave, and new passengers come in, and you're met with what you'll later find out to be Jeffrey Dean Morgan's brother. Jeffrey Dean Morgan's brother is just kind of sitting there drinking whiskey, and
they seem rough around the edges, just in their appearance as well. They seem like pretty dishevelled compared to some of the other extras we've seen.
I felt completely uncomfortable in this situation.
Yeah.
I felt...
But you see it in Mads' eyes when he just looks at them and he just knows, like, this could be a problem.
He knows it's a problem. Because this guy's a 7-year... This guy's a 7-year soldier. He's killed a lot of men.
But she says to him when they get on the carriage, she's like, you sound and look like them now. And, he's, for 7 years he's been there, so he dresses like an American, he talks like an American,
Yeah.
and so but he's kind of aware of that these sort of characters exist,
Yeah.
and when they offer her the drink, and she's just like no, and he's just like, look, when you're offered a drink, you take it, and Mads turns to his wife and he's just like, look, you should just drink it. It is what they do here.
Yeah, but he should immediately. I mean, I know the reason why he doesn't do it, but he should be just quick. Pow pow. Why did you kill those two men? Because they're bad people. But
if only it was that easy, Ian.
in those times it was, because the way this situation turns out, the son and dad situation, the conversation they have is really good.
Yeah. I mean, the boy's a little bit uncomfortable at first, but yeah, Dad's just like, look, we're going to go hunting tomorrow. Yes, there's all sorts of different animals here that you wouldn't have seen back at home.
Yeah.
And so we'll go hunting, and if we do manage to kill something, we take the skins into town.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, they're just setting up, this family and how life is going to go for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, things just, they escalate.
They get a bit touchy-feely. And I was feeling massively uncomfortable with the fact that the guy says to John, you can't do anything, because his mates pulled the gun.
Right.
And like I said, it is that easy, because they were wanting to pull their guns earlier anyway. They just didn't do it. And now he's grabbing John's wife in the middle of the stagecoach in front of their son as well. When John gets her to bite the ear,
Yeah.
and then pulls his own gun, I'm just like, blow them away now. You have every right now just to put two in each of them.
He didn't want to do that right in front of his son, I guess.
Yeah, and that's what obviously costs him, because one of the guys drops his gun and he asks his son to pick it up.
Yeah.
And it does set up the whole captured son sequence.
Right. Well, yeah, he picks up the son, knife to the throat. You can see the blood gushing straight away. And so Mads is just kind of like, okay, like, fine. And then they literally kick him off the carriage.
Yeah, they take his gun and
he
kick him off the
tumbles, dusts himself off, and he starts sprinting right after that carriage.
Yeah.
And, you don't know how long he's been chasing after them until he does come up to a small kind of cabin.
Yeah, he finds the body of his son first, and that'd be me. Just carry
Gunshot to the side of the head.
Just keep carrying that body down the road until he comes across the wagon. And I was a bit confused of how many people originally got on, because I thought there were two riders at the front and that maybe there were three in this group, but you definitely have the two in the back. And when John comes along, he picks up the rifle from the dead drivers and shoots the wagon, and the wagon spins away and he kills that first guy, and then walks up, shoots the next guy. But part of me as well was just, you're getting a lot of this from Mads. The emotion from him. The film itself doesn't have the quality behind it. I was looking at it. I'm there for the acting now, because, the budget just isn't giving me top rate quality.
Well, I thought the quality was really quite high at this point. Like, I'm really enjoying the camera work, the editing. The thing that caught me off guard was how reserved Mads Mikkelsen is. Like, he's not tears gushing. He doesn't seem to have the emotions. It just seems to be all welled up and bottled up inside.
Yeah.
Which is, it's just kind of weird. You want to relate to him as his family's just been decimated. But at the same time, he's just kind of just like it's like he's not processed what's just happened yet.
It's like the same with the brother as well. When he takes it to the brother's home, the brother walks in ready to shoot whoever's in there and then sees the bodies. And I'm expecting somebody to break down. And nothing. They bury the family.
Yeah. It's almost like they just take it in their stride.
Yeah.
But
the way life is.
He's internalizing it all though, because you have the couple of shots where the camera's just extreme close up and you can just see his eyes, and I'm like, he's dying inside, but he's just not showing it. And that's because he knows it's not over yet.
Yeah, because we get the Jeffrey Dean Morgan sequences where he walks up into the town, and you also have Jonathan Pryce playing Major Keane, and Douglas Herschel playing Sheriff Malik. And the town is like, this is another part where the film felt quite slightly unrealistic, where the town looked too nice. You had this whole town underneath Delarue's control, you know, and he is just a big bad bully, and he wants 2 people for the death of his brother.
Right.
Either bring me the man who's done this, or, you know, bring me 2 people. And so you have 2 people of the town just give themselves up. Well, reluctantly for the man with no legs.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, and Jeff D. Morgan he blasts the old woman first.
Yeah.
And he turns and he kills the other guy. And then he kills somebody else because he was just like, well, I needed 3.
Yeah,
that one didn't count.
That evens out.
Yeah.
Tired old woman, half a man. That didn't add up. That man's death. That's on you 2.
And so and then there's a bit of a manhunt to go and find the one that killed his brother.
Well, you have John wander into town with his brother because they're planning on just packing up and leaving, and the 2 passengers from the stagecoach at the beginning
Recognize him, yeah.
recognize John and go and tell the sheriff, and so the sheriff sets up this whole capture sequence, and I'm sat there and I'm thinking, why? Why would you willingly hand over this man who has lost everything and might be a bit of a badass shot as well? You know, I started to think of like the Outlaw Josey Wales, you know, and some of the classics with Eastwood playing this anti-hero where John's the kind of anti-hero, the reluctant hero, I suppose.
Well, yeah. I mean,
You
he
know,
didn't want to be involved in this, and it's the same
he's
as
got
the...
no special abilities, really. He doesn't show that he is he's not a sharpshooter from the army, you know, or brilliant at combat. He just seems to be the reluctant farmer.
Yeah, well, it's like his brother says in a sequence where he goes into the other store, and and the kid's just like, "Why don't you fight? Why don't you go and kill them all?"
Yeah.
And the brother's just like, "No, like, when you've been in a war, you kind of know when to run and when to fight."
Yeah.
And he was like, "And there's no chance. We're outnumbered completely. This whole town is against us." Because you are under the boot heel of one of these Delaware brothers who, as we find out, is pretty much working for the mayor, played by Price.
Jonathan Price, yeah.
And but he's technically under the boot heel of him as well, because it's the oil company. And this is like the underlying plot of the film. Is that the oil company is moving in and is looking to evict all these people off their land so that they can set up an oil company. And so having Jeffrey Dean Morgan just blasting people, taking the law into his own hands, that used to work for them. But, they literally say to him when they come to, to see him, like, you can't go do that anymore. We appreciate what you've done, and we still want you to get rid of all these people so that we can set up our oil plants. But you have to kind of be a little bit more civilized about it. And so he's just like, okay, well, maybe I can do it in about 4 to 5 months then, not tomorrow.
yeah.
I'm like, it's not the big crux of the film, but it's just something that kind of sets it in a reality, I guess.
With the acting behind it, it's done really well. But thinking back to it now in my head, I saw the town that they were in, and I'm just like, so they've burnt another town down, but kept the bank so that they can use it as their offices. And on the outlying locations of this town, there are oil patches.
Yeah.
You've got the family, who's the woman whose husband was shot. She wants to sell up her land because of this black stuff. They don't know what to do about it, and I'm just like, multiple angles here. Let's try to stay focused on John and his family trying to get revenge, but it's more about saving the town, who aren't really that nice anyway. No, because once they've captured John, the sheriff sits down and speaks to him and says, I've got my flock to tend to. I have to give you up for it. I'm like, you're a man of God. Right. You at least should be looking at this like as a sign that you should just give John a gun. But no, you're just going to hand John over to Delarue, and Delarue's demanded $160 from the town now as protection fee that Jonathan Price is going to try and sell as well.
Yeah. Well, again, it's just his way of kind of extorting the townspeople so that they will sell up and leave. So that's part of his plan for the oil company. At the same time, he's obviously looking to exact revenge for his brother's death, and we found out that his brother had obviously just just that day got out of jail.
Yeah, just that
so
day.
that's why he went on his his murder spree.
And well, yeah, and raped John's wife. And when John reveals this to Eva Green's character Madeline, I love Eva Green all the way through this. The fact that she just kind of stands there with that scar on her lip, not saying a word.
She's got the tattoo on the side of her head.
Yeah.
And we find out that as a child, she was screaming as her parents were being murdered by the Native Americans.
Yeah.
And so they cut her tongue out to
Yeah.
shut her up. I'm like, I don't think that really works. You're still going to scream even if you've lost your tongue.
Yeah.
Not as effectively, but still, it's not going to shut her up. But either which way, she's therefore a mute for the entire film. She doesn't say a word throughout the entire film. And it's
the emotion.
It's an interesting challenge for an actress, I suppose, to not be able to say what you feel, but to deliver it all through your eyes and through your body language.
Yeah.
And she excels at it. She's really good in her role.
Yeah.
The worthless son of a bitch that killed your beloved husband.
Your beloved husband killed my 10-year-old son. And he raped my wife.
After John's been captured and just left out to die, he sees Mayor Keane turn up, and Mayor Keane steals John's boots, which contains money, which he's going to use now to pay Delarue, as well as give him more land. And we get that great moment where, I mean, I really loved the actor playing John's brother, because he just had some of the best sequences.
Well, originally it was going to be Mads Mikkelsen's actual blood brother playing the role.
Nice.
But he had to drop out for other reasons. And it was literally Mads who also suggested to the director, well, how about this guy, my friend, he can play my brother.
Yeah.
And they looked at him and went, put him straight in there.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was one of my favourite parts of this film, because it was a face I didn't quite recognise.
Yeah.
But he was a really good actor.
Mikhail Persbrandt playing Peter, the brother. He's sat in his cell, and the sheriff has left to go do a christening, and says to his deputy, look, don't get excited, don't touch the prisoner, just leave him there, we'll deal with him later. But Peter had broken the deputy's jaw, and so you get this awesome sequence. It took me back to the Dark Knight with the Joker, sitting there talking to the officer, and he's just like, you're ugly, and now I've made you prettier. And at least you'll be able to get laid, but nobody wants to fuck you because you got such a shitty voice. And you can just see the deputy just kind of sitting there, and you don't want to get up.
It's just riling him up, just winding him up.
Yeah.
To the point where he storms over. Yeah, and he just fucking takes his legs out from under him, drags him up to the bars, then smacks his head into the bar. Just like, that was cool.
Yeah. But then there's this whole sequence where it's raining, and Peter is coming to rescue John, and the rain just didn't look real in some locations.
Yeah, I can imagine that it probably wasn't.
Yeah, being the fact that they were in South Africa. But I'm just like, okay, this is kind of throwing me off, because I was getting behind the acting to the point that I felt like this was really high budget. And now this is making me feel like I'm watching sci-fi, or maybe Hallmark Channel.
It does just sometimes have an air of made for TV. It's again, you're just like, is that CGI? Is that real? Has that been superimposed in? Like the backdrops, like the Rocky Mountain in the background. I'm like
the
where
blood.
are we?
Like when they get shot in the back, I'm like, is that CGI?
Yeah, it is, and it immediately, because when you watch a Western, you remember the classics. No CGI. There was just a little bit of camera trickery here and there, but nothing as elaborate as computer generated imagery, which immediately takes you out of the experience. And because for me, Westerns are almost like time travel. You go back there and you expect the film to just have the technology of the time almost. It's how you want it to feel.
Yeah.
And so it does lose that authenticity of being a Western when your brain's just going, something's not right. And you don't want your brain to be reminding you of that. You want to be going along with the characters and the story and this this jailbreak almost. And but you can't, because you sat there going, is this day for night photography? It's supposed to be the middle of the night, but it looks like they filmed it in the middle of the day.
Yeah, and they just
then
superimposed
tinted
like clouds in the background.
But and so it takes you out of the experience. It does. But at the same time, I really liked the visuals of
I'm
this
still
nighttime
behind
escape.
John. I'm still behind John, and I'm kind
It's
of behind
'cause of the actors,
Jeffrey
yeah.
Dean Morgan, and I'm definitely behind Eva Green because their characters are really intriguing, and I want to. I desperately want to see John blow Delarue away. I want to see him shoot a big shootout, but the brothers escape off into the mountain, and they know they're not going to escape, so they have to split off, and the brother leaves John by the rock, and it's not until the next morning that we see his body being dragged behind, Delarue's posse.
Now, the numbers don't quite add up here, because I'm pretty sure there was... I can't remember if there was 9 of them that set out to try and find these 2 brothers.
Well, they split
Yeah,
off.
there was only 7 that come back, and I was like, well, we don't see what happened, but I can only imagine that
might
his
kill a
brother
couple.
had killed a couple of them off screen.
Yeah.
And so reduced their number down. I was just like, at least he took some of them out before, they took him down.
Yeah. I kind of missed, I thought the film missed the mark where this would have been a nice moment to have his son, like a ghost image kind of, pull him in. That's at this point when John wakes up, I'm like, he's lost everything.
He has now.
And
Yeah.
nobody cares. Not even Madeline. She's just bagged all the money that they've been saving all this time. She's just bagged it up and she's on her way. And it's only just occurred to me, Gary, that we haven't brought up the special guest star in this whole film. Bigger than all of the other actors in this movie.
Celebrity football star Eric Cantona.
Eric Cantona. he's playing Delarue's close bodyguard.
Pretty much, yeah, one of his cronies.
Yeah, he just kind of stands in the background. And he does have that little moment with John when he knocks him out and he's just like, I respect you. You killed Germans. I'm like, ooh. John makes his way across the plains and comes across the family whose husband was shot at the beginning by Delarue. Which I kind of thought, well, that finishes that storyline.
Sure, yeah. But he goes to help himself to the well, doesn't he? And she's just like, no, don't drink out of there. It's full of that black, strange stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's another reference to the oil.
Yeah.
But they kind of take him in and look after him and sort of patch him up, as best they can.
Yeah, gives him some bread and water. And
Yeah.
sends him on his way. And he comes across Mikkelsen at this point.
Right.
And unravels now this whole reason of why Delarue and Mikkelsen are working together to get everybody's land. And I'm like, I don't care really about this. I was caring about the family issue.
Like I said, it's more of the backdrop,
But, yeah. And now
it's the
he's lost.
motivation for the villains of the film.
Yeah. And he ushers him into the coffin, but then sets up the whole thing of sending the coffin to Delarue.
Yeah.
So that Delarue finds out that now the business has gone up in smoke. But John heads to the general store and just starts arming himself up.
Yeah.
He's got his boots back, gets some guns, and the kid tries to convince him then to let him come along.
Yeah. He's like, I want to fight with you, and I'm like, well, you're this kid's the only other character in the whole town that actually is seeing, the shitstorm, that everything is wrong,
Yeah, he's even
and wants to
caring.
fight for it.
Yeah.
And even though he's told not to bother, the kid still, arms up and comes after him anyway. It's just like, I'm fighting with you whether you want me to or not.
Well, yeah, he does the distraction quite well, doesn't he?
He does, yeah, and he kills a couple of the goons as well. He ends up on the roof at one point. He's shooting bad guys, but then the cigar smoking man, he realizes that there's somebody up on the rooftops, and he waits until he's lined himself up, and he shoots up several times.
Like this guy with a cigar, I didn't catch his name.
He's the cigar man.
He's the cigar man.
yeah.
He's just in the back shot a lot of times with the cigar, laughing. And at this moment, he shoots up through the roof, and the kerosene comes down, drips onto him, and sets him on fire. A CGI fire.
Well, I mean, they actually set him on fire.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, there was an actual stunt man that they set on fire.
Oh, right, okay.
But it's what happens, I mean, they actually did that as an effect.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, they probably did add some extra fire and some smoke, because the building goes up in flames.
Yeah,
and then you see the shots from outside, and I'm just like, now that looks like fake fire. Like, they didn't really want to they didn't want to burn their sets down in case they needed to do another take. They didn't have the budget to rebuild this set. To which, I mean, they did build the entire town.
They just set fire to him because you've got the normal town and then you've got the
burnt out
town.
remaining. Yeah.
But the kid is killed and John is using the underground of the buildings to move himself into positions, which I thought was a really, really good idea. But I started to lose track of who was left because there was nobody who really stood out other than Eric Cantona and Delarue. And Eric Cantona gets his hands on Eva Green and uses her as cover, but he gets shot in the balls.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it looks like the gun aims there, and then there's a shot, and he falls down, and then John has to shoot him like two or three more times just to actually fully kill him. So this is the part where I'm like, so he's not a sharpshooter.
No, he's just a soldier.
He's just a standard soldier, and you know, it was just like that guy's dead, that guy's dead. But where's John now? He finally gets shot in the arm.
Yeah.
By Delarue.
Right.
And he falls down, and it's down to now just the three mains. And as Delarue comes up, I'm just like, Madeleine, you have to kill him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was.
You have to.
It seemed because you didn't really know where Eva Green's character's loyalties were because obviously she was married to one of these brothers. She
was a slave.
Yes.
She was a slave.
But because she is, she has a presence of "don't fuck with me." Like I was kind of surprised that she was married to the scumbag from the beginning, and I'm like, okay,
he saved her.
Yes,
we're always told that it was the brother that saved her life. So she may actually have loved him. It may have been Stockholm syndrome or whatever of your captor.
It's the fact that she's now also being abused
by Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character. You know, we've had the sex sequence
or the post-sex sequence. Yeah,
that was awkward.
Well, I mean, I guess it was more like he just raped her.
Yeah, because we see her face beaten.
Yeah. And she's the one looking after the money and putting the money away in the safe, and I'm just like, what? We don't know what she's planning or scheming or what's going on in her mind just from her eyes. She has one sequence where she gets to tell Jeffrey Dean Morgan to shut the fuck up, because that guy loves the sound of his own voice. She just goes, shut up, this is my husband's burial.
But she wings him. And he's about to kill John, and John then stands up, and you kind of get the front cover poster sequence where he stands there and puts the gun to the back of his head and shoots him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool, we got to where I wanted to be. But then the local sheriff turns up with his posse and is looking around at the carnage. And that part of him kind of wants to arrest John.
Yeah, but at the same time, his town's now been liberated from those that would...
And John technically revenged his family, so he kind of understands that. But he looks shocked when Madeleine comes out and she's still alive. And they have that standoff. And you just know that the sheriff's just like, the sheriff's not going to win it. Because these two people have gone through so much, they'll die right here if they have to.
Right.
And I really did like that, like I said, the characters, the special effects, the set pieces, some of the clothes may not have been as authentic as I liked, but poses, you can get people to pose in a particular way, and
yeah, and that's kind of how the film ends. You watch the two of them kind of go off, and the camera reveals all of the oil rigs that are being set up, and I'm just like, that's CGI. Like the camera just keeps revealing more and more CGI.
I just turned away at that point. I'd already turned away.
Yeah.
They rode off into the sunset. The end.
Yeah, but it just wanted to just go, but the oil company won in the end. It's like,
yay.
Right. Message.
But
still, it was a very satisfying conclusion, though. Yeah. So, Iain, do you have any memorable favourite scenes?
Yeah, I've got a few. I really love the whole kind of stagecoach sequence, just for how tense it was. But obviously I didn't love it because I put myself in that situation, and like I said, I wanted to be John and just be pow,
Right.
You had your moment, and then when he finds his son on the road, Mads Mikkelsen oversold it to me to the point I was kind of wiping away a tear. When he gets to the stagecoach itself and he takes out a couple of guys, I realized at this point, he wasn't a badass because it took a couple of shots for him to take the guys out. Maybe he was winging them, but then that last guy where he just unloads.
Sure, yeah, until he runs out.
Yeah. I kind of liked the town sequences with Jeffrey Dean Morgan, but it was like I was watching Negan in a western. You know,
Right, yeah. I mean, this was around the same time. It was 2014, so it was almost pre-Negan, I want to say.
Yeah.
It's literally just around the same time.
Post-comedian, pre-Negan kind
Yeah.
of mustache, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. You know, it's
He's
not...
intimidating, and he's got the gravelly voice, and
It's-
I
it's the
reckon if Jeffrey
threats.
Dean Morgan was acting back in the 50s and 60s, he would have been in all of the great Western classics.
Totally.
You know?
But it's the threat. You know, I need X amount of people for, payback for against this, and
Yeah.
But it partly showed the real weakness of the town because. And I mean literally the weakness of the town, because you only ever get the sheriff, the mayor, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan's interaction.
Yeah. It's a very streamlined Western, you know?
Yeah, it's very extreme. All the people we see in this crowd, other than the woman who, obviously her husband gets shot.
Yeah.
I looked at her and I'm like, you're coming back later, aren't you? You're going to turn up and do something good. I love the brother sequences. I really like the sequence where he comes back and he finds the family on the bed, and it's just like, I wanted him to kind of break down, but then them not breaking down. Why Mads Mikkelsen gets his brother to bury the family? You know, he's just kind of stood there like, I'm mourning, and the brother's
He's still
like,
in shock. He's
and
still processing.
I'm
Yeah.
doing the work. When he's in the set jail cell and escapes. Any of the sequences with Eva Greenan,
She's dominating the screen without saying a word.
beautiful, amazing. You
Yeah.
know, like she has that just on-screen presence. When she puts her finger up to her lip,
Yeah.
you know. That's me.
Yeah, I found it quite hard to pick any standout scenes in the film, although I really did enjoy the sequence, the nighttime kind of jailbreak.
Yeah.
Even though I had issues with, my brain telling me that it wasn't quite right, I still really liked the lighting. I liked the shadows that were cast over the characters. Like there's a sequence when Mads is, I think he's like in a woodland area,
Right.
and he kind of steps out and the light just covers half of his
Yeah,
face.
yeah.
It's just shots like that. I'm just like, oh, that's a really great moment. That's a really great moment.
Yeah.
But there's, by and large, most of the sequences are quite forgettable. But I did enjoy the jailbreak sequence just because the mood, the atmosphere, the burnt out kind of buildings. There was a few bits there that I quite liked. But yeah, all in all, not the most memorable of sequences for a film. It was all felt like sequences I'd seen done before in other westerns, and so there was nothing that really stood out other than some really great performances from the three characters.
Yeah.
So it's I do recommend The Salvation. It's a fairly typical Western, you got the good, the bad, the greedy.
Yeah.
You got corrupt sheriffs, you've got shootouts, a revenge story, and a lone gunman. It's definitely got its moments, and for me, the cinematography was the highlight. It really captured the dusty old town setting and the beautiful landscapes. It really was very well shot and framed. The actors played their parts well, and Mads Mikkelsen, he always commands your attention when he's on screen. He's very subdued, but still very relatable. The story is pretty generic, and it's a simple revenge tale with no real deviation, which kept the pace flowing with no real slow moments. My biggest complaint, as we've said, is the obvious CGI fire and blood and smoke effects, which unfortunately was very distracting.
Yeah.
Still, it was entertaining and it was well produced, but nothing that hasn't been done before. It's worth a watch, but it's pretty far from ever being a classic.
Yeah, it's definitely not a classic. I mean, I'd rather watch The Outlaw Josey Wales if I was going to watch
The Unforgiven.
Yeah, just I was sat watching this and I was just like, there are so many better westerns. You're not a bad western,
No.
but you're just maybe budget wise trying too much with too little and heavily relying on the main three actors who are delivering really, really well. Main five, including the sheriff and the mayor. Jonathan Pryce, he does really well as the mayor, but then you had to have the sheriff and the vicar as one character because you weren't able to to spread that out, it's all right.
Thanks for watching Off the Shelf Reviews.
I will give you 2 hours to find the man that did this.